Welcome friends to another Dune video. Today we're going to look at the question why the Bene Gesserit use noble genes for their breeding program. The genetics in all people at all levels of society are the same and could be manipulated to get what they want. But access to nobles has many benefits to the Sisterhood as an organisation. Firstly, due to them taking spice, many of the nobles will live for a long time and are not in, for the most part, danger, perhaps except by a war of assassins. The sisters need access to those in their breeding program, and so this will lessen the likelihood of someone being killed and that part of the program's tapestry being damaged. Think of how near Paul comes to death in the first Dune novel. He was a planned and important part of the program and could have been lost very easily. The Bene Gesserit recruit from young women in the Landsraad to be trained as sisters, helping with their ties to those in power, i.e. giving long-term power to them in terms of having blood links to nearly every noble house helps them keep access. The Emperor's daughter Irulan, for example, was a Bene Gesserit and perfectly positioned to report on the court intrigue, for example. Think of when a Bene Gesserit is employed as a truth-sayer. The truths they test for will sometimes be something important that will affect the house, and this important information will then be known by the Sisterhood to use for their advantage. Mahayam served as truth-sayer for Shaddam and will have known so much of his inner circle's plans, and Shaddam's wife, Anirul, who gave birth to Irulan, was a Bene Gesserit of hidden rank. In other words, their true rank within the Sisterhood is not known publicly. So that is 3 in positions of power within the Emperor of the known universe's court alone. Tessia is in the court of the ruler of Ix, Jessica in the Atreides, etc. You get the picture. The secrets that the Bene Gesserit find out could clearly help them gain funding through blackmail or information exchange between the houses and serving sisters, which could get them access to certain technologies or other benefits when they want it. And that is not even going into the manipulation that they can perform themselves on the nobles when this is needed. The wealth of the Landsraad must feed back to the Sisterhood to help with its operations. Though I can recall no direct thing saying this, it makes sense to me, schooling the nobles and receiving funding back from them, which helps them maintain their schools and pay for the Sisterhood's needs within the houses they join, perhaps pay for the spice or the worm's poison from Arrakis. And young nobles who seed the Bene Gesserit would later become leaders themselves, keeping ties to the Bene Gesserit strong so the next generation uses them. Being linked to the higher class would also help when whoever the Kwisatz Haderach would arrive, including potential ones such as Count Fenring was. They would already have the needed training to be a leader, how to order warfare such as the War of Assassins, how to act within the court and maintain control over the Imperium, the many factions involved, to name a few: Chom, the Spacing Guild, the Ixians, etc. Paul Atreides, as you see in the first Dune novel, has many teachers, and once that person is trained, the Bene Gesserit can use that when the Kwisatz Haderach comes, as that person will know how to rule, under the control of the Bene Gesserit, of course. And of course, having the Bene Gesserit as an accepted part of the mechanisms of society makes them invisible and accepted in ways that working with a non-noble level of person would not. And once the program has been started in the past, a lot of what they have done would be thrown away if they had started again from scratch with low members of society for whatever reason. So, though they could get to the same place with the normal population, they would lose much of the above. They would have less funding, less knowledge for manipulation, be questioned more by those in power without influence. Because this happened post the Butlerian Jihad, the Bene Gesserit used genetic records stored on computers and were questioned as being heretical with their use of that technology at the time by a group that were very anti-technology following the Butlerian Jihad and the war between the humans and the machines. So I think it's natural they are amongst those in power behind the scenes to gain the funding and benefits needed to complete their program to create the Kwisatz Haderach. Now friends, I turn this over to you. Are there any other benefits their position gives the sisterhood? Are there any other Bene Gesserit or Dune topics you would like to see covered on the channel? Have you been recruited into the Bene Gesserit sisterhood? Comment down below.